sponsored by TeleDoc. Every Wednesday and Thursday, we bring on doctors, trusted doctors from the TeleDoc network, to answer, our health questions live. And today's conversation, in honor of Children's Day, today's conversation is one that is very, very, very important. Children and screens. I have two children, and every day we fight this battle. It's a never-ending battle, you know, trying to get their screens from them. I'm talking phones, tablets, television, video games, any device, name it. And for many families today, screens have become part of our everyday life. Sometimes, even from infancy, you are a new mom, you're trying to make sure that you want to keep your child occupied, your baby occupied, or your child occupied. You give them a phone. The ones that you listen to, and we do that. And while we all can admit that technology can be very useful, it's not a doctor that told us. We know we know by ourselves that this technology is not really meeting the need, because what we are seeing now is, there was a day my brother came to my house to visit, and he said that, so I typically do routine taking of screens from my kids, and he said that my daughter was behaving like a drug addict because she was restless. She couldn't respond. She was just very restless and acting like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I said, oh, we have a problem on our hands. So I take the devices from them at will. Sometimes I leave it for my 3-year-old, but then even that one, funny enough, he seems to be more malleable when it comes to taking screens from him. Can I have my phone? Go and drop your tab. He's malleable. But the sister, that one used to act like that thing. If she doesn't hold it, something's going to happen. So today we're going to be talking about how excessive screen time affects children. What do children lose when outdoor play disappears? I'm also big on outdoor play. My kids, once it's 5 o'clock, busy 6 o'clock, I chase them outside. Really, between me and you, let me know lie. I chase them out because I need time to myself. But it's 2 for 1. But yeah, today joining us, we have Dr. Auntie Ephraim, who will help us understand the balance between screens, development, behavior, healthy childhood experiences. Those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. We are live on YouTube at WFM 917, and you can listen to us on the go via our website, www.wfm917.com. The phone lines are open now. 07000. No, shortly they'll be open. 07000 917 917, or 800 1235 917. You can also start texting us via our text us, WhatsApp us, or send us a voice note 0703 175 6537 or 08155 917 917. Now that is out of the way, we're going to get into it this morning with our doctor, the importance of green time over screen time for children. You're very welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you so much, ma.
He said, ma, I'm not a ma, please. So how are you? Happy children? Should I say happy children? Are you the Are you the one bringing in all these people? Are you the one that is bringing a lot of people on our show? I can see them on
probably.
They should go and listen to it on. They should go and join us live on YouTube at WFM 917. Let them go to go and do that. Okay, let's get into it this morning. Happy Children's Day to you. Happy holidays. We are essential services, so we don't get
double celebration everywhere.
Double celebration. I feel sorry for parents because they're like, typically on Children's Day they leave the kids at home or drop them somewhere. But now you're like, oh, I have to give the children a good time.
Yeah, by force.
Don't give them screens, but yeah, the fact is here. Okay, let's get on with it. What exactly do we mean by green time and screen time?
All right, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Ante, and I'm a pediatrician in training, actually. So, green time basically just means the unstructured time that children spend outdoors without rules, no particular rules, just unstructured, just freestyle. Spending time outdoors, playing, engaging with one another, engaging with their environment, and engaging with nature. Yeah. While screen time just basically means time or duration children spend on their screens and the technological gadgets like phones and television and tabs.
Right, right. Interestingly, I was watching I won't call it a documentary, a video where this doctor was or professor, he was talking about how back in the day, every generation is better than the former. So children are typically way better than their parents. But he was saying that right now, ever since 2010, when the Gen Z, when
Yes.
research started, that he said children are not as smart as their parents anymore.
Mm.
And he chalked it up to the over dependence on digital, on technology. Basically, he was saying that he's not saying that it is a bad thing, but he's saying that over dependence on it is what is causing a dumbing down of kids cognitive something something something, was the way he
Yes.
explained it.
That's true. That's true. Actually, see, the brain has been designed by God
Mm-hmm,
to mature at a certain pace
mm-hmm.
and with the right stimulus.
Okay,
Okay, so there's a particular type of stimulus that the brain needs to mature at its normal phase.
okay.
For instance, children between the age of 2 to 5 years, there's a lot of brain development going on at that period. So when they begin to use other means to stimulate the brain and prevent it from functioning at its normal pace, it could affect it could affect the cognitive functions of of the child in the long run.
Hmm.
So most of the
So
time, yeah, okay. So you were
no,
saying
go ahead.
something?
You were going to
Yes,
continue
so
your
most of
thought.
the time, screen time, there's a lot of stimulation that comes from the screens, from the technological gadgets that can either speed up or dysregulate the normal growth process of the brain, and it manifests in different forms, manifests in different ways.
Okay, so why is this conversation very, very necessary right now? Why is there now more? Is it research and conversations on the importance of green time over screen time?
Yeah, actually, there's been a lot of research. I can't even start mentioning names now. There are so many research that has been done on the importance of green time and the importance of screen time and the effects it has on children. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
for instance, in America, there was a particular study after COVID where there was about 292,000 children were assessed on the amount of screen time that they have, and there's a recommended duration for screen time by the WHO, which is 1 to 2 hours a day for
mm-hmm,
all children. But actually, they discovered that most of these children between the ages of 5 to about 2 to about 17, they spend almost 10 hours on
mm-hmm.
at least 3 to 10 hours on their screens, and they discovered that it has effects on their mental health, it has effect on their social health. I, for one, as a medical doctor in pediatrics, I have seen so many children so many parents bring their children to the hospitals, and they ask, and they complain of speech delay, and most of the time we ask them, okay, how long does a child spend on screen? And they all say the same thing, that, oh, he likes to watch cartoons, he has a tab, he's always spending time on screen, and I give it, and they all have their different reasons why they allow their children to play, because of because of job, their businesses, they're tired, so they just want to engage the child. And most of the time it always comes with these side effects.
I actually do agree with you on that one because I find that children who are very dependent on screens, there's a way they speak, the speech delay, like it delays
Yes.
their development. But what about, like, how does it delay? Is it because scientifically, is it because they're not having conversations with human beings, or what could be at play there?
Okay, so now there is a part of the brain called the white matter
Okay.
that helps to um, serve as an insulator and helps to serve to improve neural connectivity in the brain. Now, most of the time, when children are involved in watch are having so much excessive time on screen, scientists has found out that most of these children, they have a reduction in their white matter. Scans were done on their brain, and they
Huh.
discovered that the density of the white matter in their brains is lower compared to the normal a normal child that is growing. So most of the time they have this, it affects their ability to make decisions, it affects their ability to speak, it affects their ability to do so many cognitive things. Not all of them actually have, it just varies with child anyway, but the majority of these children were found to have reduced white matter in components of the brain.
Huh. I'm I'm like, because I'm just thinking about my children. But what about for attention and concentration? Because you
Yeah,
find that you're unable to capture the attention of children these days anymore. And I
yeah.
try to cast my mind back to when I was a child. Did not bomb me well, like for my mind to just go
I think
like that.
now, like,
Right. So how does that also impact the attention span and concentration?
all right, now there is a center in the brain called the reward center.
Okay.
Okay, so most of the time when children are exposed to a lot of to screen and there's excessive screen time, the reward center is always stimulated. So that reward center helps to produce dopamine
Okay.
and so many feel good hormones. So when the children are exposed to this thing, they always want to get that dopamine high. So now when you give them another task, when you give them something, they are not patient enough to not follow the normal process. For instance, if you give them a task,
Right.
their attention span is reduced. They are not patient enough because they are looking for that dopamine. They expect to have that dopamine high that you always get from the screen. So that is the reason why they are not patient enough to do normal tasks. They are not patient enough to pay attention. That still they are become addicted, kind of addicted to dopamine rush. So that is the reason why there's reduced attention in these children.
Hmm. You just described my daughter. You just described her, and interest, like when she was way younger, there was no dependence on tabs, to be honest. There was a tab at
Mhm.
home, but she hardly ever used it. So I'm now trying to figure out, okay, what have I done wrong? Because that describes her very, very well. Even with the fact that sometimes we do, we had a time where there were no screens at home, including TV, right?
Okay.
So the only time TV even came on is maybe when my husband comes from work, because I don't really watch TV. I actually don't watch TV. So when he comes back from work at night, he's watching TV, but it's not like what they can watch. But
Yeah.
I noticed that it's almost like she's counting down until the 2 weeks is over so that she
Yes.
can get. So I need to extend it so that okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's move over to green time. Like
All
I
right.
mentioned at the beginning, in fact, when I'm choosing schools for my children, I
Yeah.
ask specifically about break time if they allow them go out to play. Because
Yeah.
when I was serving, I was in a school where the head of the school didn't like the children playing outside, and I couldn't
Yeah.
understand it. So, how important is green time, outdoor play on
Yeah.
for children, and what effect does it have on their physical development?
All right. Thank you very much for that question. Now, green time. Okay, there's a vast amount of advantages that children can benefit from green time.
Mhm.
So, for the physical development, green time, when they spend time outside, they are playing, they are running up and down, they are laughing, they are interacting with one another. So, first of all, there is increased metabolism in the body. They
Okay.
are active, they are physically active. So green time, what it does to the body, it helps to build their muscles. It gives them strength, muscle strength. It improves muscle strength. It stimulates bone growth, and it helps to increase metabolism in the body. Because as they're running up and down, they are burning fats, they are burning glucose, they are burning so many nutrients that would have been stored in the body as and become fat eventually. That's why you see children. Some of them have obesity. Some of them have so many other conditions. Some of them even have neck pain. So all those things help to it increase the flexibility of the muscles, it increases the flexibility of the bones and everything in the body. So the metabolism in the body is increased. So most of the nutrients are being utilized in the body. They are not stored, and it develops their muscle strength and stamina.
Right. Does he have any? Are there risks to it? Is there any risk that is associated with green time at all?
Of course, there are a lot of risks associated
Okay.
with it. However, when in medicine, there's something they call the risk-benefit ratio. We normally consider whenever we give treatments or recommend treatments for patients, we normally look at the risk and the benefits. Now, for instance, now for green time, of course, there's risk, particularly in this part of Africa where we have, where like in the sub-Saharan Africa, tropical region, we have diseases, a lot of infectious diseases. Now, for instance, malaria, which is one of the most common one of the common causes of under five mortality. Most children can be exposed to diseases like malaria if they run into, stagnant waters or play. We also have, allergies. Some children can start reacting to, dust. Some children can react to, to the grasses and all those things. They could also come in contact with the disease like Lassa fever. Those are the risk of those things, but those things can be prevented actually.
Mm. Okay. All right. I want to go back to screen time again. Does it
Yeah.
affect sleep? Excessive
Oh
screen
yes,
time.
yes. Excessive screen time affects you. Even for adults, most of these things we are talking about, it's just that today we are focusing on children. It also affects adults too. Now, screen time, what it does, particularly in the night, the light from the screens, it normally inhibits. There's a particular hormone in the brain called melatonin that
Okay.
helps to stimulate sleep, particularly when everywhere is dark. That's why they say when you want to sleep, make sure you close the windows, put down the curtains, switch off your lights, don't use your phone. Is all those things are the things that help to stimulate that hormone, that chemical in the brain that helps to produce sleep. So now screen time, because of this, the light in that from the coming out of the phones, it prevents the formulation of that of that hormone. That is the reason why most of the time they cannot sleep well. It affects sleep generally. It reduces that concentration, affects sleep.
Mhm. And even that irritability that kids feel, like
Yeah.
when you take the screens from them, they become just so unruly.
Yes, yes, very unruly, very, very unruly, very aggressive, safe. We see them in the clinic every day, very, very aggressive.
Wow.
Dopamine rush. They are craving, they're already used to that high level of dopamine. So they react to it. Because dopamine is a feel good hormone. Even for we adults, sometimes, how do you feel when you don't hold your phone? Sometimes you begin to have
My
withdrawal.
God, oh my
That's
God,
what
oh
we
my
call
God. Yeah.
withdrawal symptoms. Those are withdrawal symptoms.
Right. So how can parents curb this as early as, so if you have, like in my case, my daughter is 8 years.
Yes.
How do you begin to regulate these things?
Okay, now it's actually not easy, but it is doable. It's
Okay.
doable. So for children now, there's a recommended time for screen.
Okay.
Ideally 1 to 2 hours is enough for children.
Okay.
Now, children less than 1 years old, they should not even have exposure to screen, even though it is not so totally possible now at this our generation, you understand? But
Mhm.
it is trying to strike a balance. Parents determining to strike a balance for them so that they maintain the screen time period and also have a healthy dose of the green time, because it's just all about striking a balance, setting boundaries and ensuring that your children interact, particularly now that for parents whose children have already gone far in this thing and they already, see, like someone like for you now, your children are already big, they're already grown. So you will have to be more strict in your management. You have to be more
Mhm.
strict in setting the boundaries. You have to be stricter in ensuring that you take the attention away from the screen. And
Mhm.
there are so many other tricks to this.
Yeah, but for parents who are not always at home, how do they manage this? Because maybe if you left your kids maybe with family members or maybe a house help, how are you able to manage this? Um,
Okay.
Enforcing this as a parent.
Okay. Yes. So it's actually a very important question. Thank you for that question. So for parents that are not always at home because of work, because of their busy schedules, they can always look for a way around it. First of all, if the parents have times when they're at home, for instance, during the weekends, you can intentionally make yourself available for your children, bond
Right.
with them. I have a colleague who is also a medical doctor who tries during the weekends. she and her husband, they try to bond with his son, engage him in the house, play games with him, and get him engaged. You can get your children engaged in house duties, things that will interest them. You can get them exposed to, washing dishes, doing small chores, something interesting that will help. Then if parents are so busy, you're not at home, you can make sure that their guardians are there. You can instruct the guardians or anyone who is in custody of your child to help you with that. You can give them, some incentives. Just make sure that your children have, adequate amount of green time where you
Hmm.
are not there.
Right. And this, excuse me, this green time obviously has an effect on their social skills, their
Yes,
emotional
yes,
development as
yes.
well.
Yes. It has a very strong effect because now when children are interacting, so most of the time in the clinic, what we normally do when we see children who have speech delays or children who have like who are a bit autistic, they fall on the
Yeah.
autism spectrum. So we normally encourage the patients to allow them interact with others. We normally want to find out first of all how are they interacting with other children.
Right.
So now we have places where they can interact at school, at church, in the daycare. So yes, it's very important for parents for children to interact with one another. So can you tell me what's the question again?
I was asking about the
I got
effect, or I was
you.
asking about the effect of this on their social development and
Yes,
their
yes.
emotional development.
All right, yes. So when children are interacting with themselves, they develop social skills. They
Right.
develop characters like endurance,
Right.
perseverance. They
Mhm.
develop characters like they build their self-esteem. There's
Mhm.
creativity. They learn to explore. They begin to discover things about themselves, which boosts their self-esteem, which boosts their social skills, which boosts their ability to interact with other children. It is when they find out that, oh, they can do this thing, or this particular child is acting this way. It exposes them to different characters that helps to shape who they are. And you know that the first 7 years of a child's life is a period of identity. It's when parents should be intentional about how their children's identity is formed. So that period is very important, the first 7 years of life. So green time is a very good way, it's a very cheap way of allowing your children develop their self-esteem, develop their social skills, communication skills, ability to cooperate, ability to work in the team. When we were small, we used to do all these things like game. We do husband and wife game. We do so many other
Yeah.
hide
Yeah.
and seek. All those things are building your social skills.
Hmm. Each time you talk about your clinic, you always talk about maybe kids with developmental issues or autism. Is there a direct link between screens and autism, or screens and developmental issues? Is that what causes autism, or is just an offshoot of it?
Okay, no, autism is just it's a different ball game entirely, but
Okay.
actually these things can precipitate it. These things
Right.
can precipitate autism. It can precipitate. Not most autism, they are genetic. Some of them are genetic. Some of them also have some social and environmental factors that precipitate those things. So if a child now is genetically inclined to having autism, screen time can also make it worse. It can bring out the symptoms worse. It can bring
Right.
out those symptoms faster. So it's
Mhm.
not like directly linked to it. No.
Okay. But what about for developmental? You mentioned, oh, speech delay, right?
Yes.
What about
Yes.
physical development? Does it affect that in any way?
Yes, and physical development, yeah, it could affect because, for instance, now children who spend so much time on screen, I talked about sedentary lifestyle and physical activity. So you can see them, most of them, they could come down with a neck pain, will come down with bone pains, they will come down with obesity because there is no activity, there is no metabolism in the body, there is no adequate metabolism in the body. So they could come down with all these other developmental delays, developmental structural problems.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, all this, I know I keep asking the same question in different ways, but from what
Yeah.
I'm gathering, all I'm hearing is the family units, that's the parents, they play a higher role
Yes. Yes.
in
Very true. Very
it when it
correct.
comes to development of the child, when it comes to screens, when it comes to green time, right?
Yes. Yes. That's
What
true.
about schools?
Oh
Because
yes.
I remember when I was looking for a crash for my son years ago, I remember going to some schools, and I was just taken aback at the fact that there were TVs there. It seems like schools just leave TVs in the class, especially for the daycare or the creche, and then they are watching. What role does that play in the development of the child?
Yeah. Now, the thing about schools is that most schools they don't understand that they play a very important role in the
Right.
support in supporting the development of a child. For instance, for children who don't have the opportunity at home, schools can help to supplement it.
Mm-hmm.
So schools they have an important role to play because um, when children engage in green time and school, they help to like create an avenue for them to interact with one another, interact with nature, also interact with themselves. Sorry, I got lost in your
No, it's fine. I was asking that what role does the school play when it, because you go to a school and you see TV in the school, so the child is
Yes, okay.
dependent on.
Now the role they play is making sure that the children don't spend too much time on the screens. You know that now most of the time they have the they have you said they have TVs, they have screens for education purposes and all that, but they should have regular intervals where the children can interact with themselves without the screen, so they don't get used to the dopamine rush and all that, because there is no how they are exposed to screen. They will not be it can stimulate that reward center in them. So apart from academic now what the schools can do is that first of all they should ensure that whatever the children are consuming from the screen is educative, strictly educative. That's number one. Number two, they should have a particular period where the children are off screen completely and
Mhm,
allowed to interact with themselves. And
mhm,
also, they can have playing grounds. They could design playing grounds with natural habitats in school. They can have gardens, incorporate gardens. Now, in most of the buildings we have now, particularly in Lagos State, most of the buildings we have now, they are tiled. All the compounds are tiled. All the compounds, there are no trees. We don't have trees again. We don't have gardens again in compound. So schools it will be a very good avenue to incorporate natural habitats, incorporate things like zoos, or help the children do excursions for the children. Let them be involved in excursions where they can go out to resource centers, they can learn, they can see nature, they can understand their environment. It will go a long way in curbing the effect of screen time.
very, very true. I went to a primary school that was, we had a really large compound and there were a lot of trees and flowers there. So yes, I do agree with you. Now I want to take you back to developmental. What are the things that parents should look out for if you notice certain things? Because in their minds they're giving their child the screen to keep
Yeah,
them company, but they're not
yeah.
paying attention to the fact that maybe the child is not speaking, maybe the child is acting up, or they just think, oh, the child is no, oh, she guy, or he's just being a child or whatever. Like, what are the developmental delays that they should pay attention to with the children, in their children?
Okay, for developmental delays, you should pay attention to. First of all, is speech. Most of the time, it always starts with speech. It always starts with the speech most of the time. Then when they notice that at a particular age, the child should be saying that is daddy or mommy, but the child
Mm,
is not speaking. They should also notice the attention span of the child and the ability to receive instructions, to obey instructions. There are some children that are big. Most of the time, when tell them something, they can't do it. Either maybe they are not hearing clearly, maybe because of the loud volume of this content of what they are consuming, and
mm,
so they need to check the hearing, the speech, the sight of the child, because most of the time excessive screen time can affect the sight. It causes a condition we call short-sightedness. So can they see clearly? Can they hear? Can they speak? Then their general cognitive behavior. How do they interact with other people? Do they cry excessively? Do they throw tantrums on very little things? Those are the small symptoms they will notice that we have seen children in the clinic coming. I've seen parents bring their children to the clinic and their complaints that the child is crying excessively, the child is getting angry easily, the child is very irritable. So all those are things that they should note at the early signs. They will find out. Now the later signs are poor socialization skills, antisocial behaviors, aggressive behaviors. You see children bullying other children. You see children fighting other children. You see them demonstrating, particularly for the adult children. You see them, you could, the grown-up children, some of them, they can manifest very antisocial behaviors. Sometimes they will come to the clinic, they are very lousy, they shout on their parents, they talk to their parents anyhow. Those are the things that you find out in them that should give you concern.
Wow. So when the parent starts noticing these things, what's the role of the parent? What should they do?
Yes, that what parents should do is to bring them to the hospital for
Okay.
checkup. Please don't hesitate. Most of the time, the symptoms will have gone far before they
Mm,
notice that, oh, this thing is a thing of concern, particularly if they are not always around with the children.
mm,
So what they should do is to bring them to the hospital. Then and also what they can do if they privation they cannot come to the hospital, the steps they can take at home is first of all study the child and see what the child is being exposed to. What are the kind of things the child is what kind of content are the children consuming online? What are they consuming from?
mm,
What are they? Some children they can be watching violent or aggressive content that will affect them. We have seen cases of children having sex with themselves, minors who are sleeping with each other. They all got these things from screen time. So they should observe the content that the child is consuming and intervene when necessary.
Before we go on, because I want to take you up on that still, for people who are genuinely struggling with this,
Yes.
how can they reach out to you? Like what should they do?
Okay, so they can reach out to me. They can send me a DM on my social media handles. Also, they can go to other places like child adolescent centers. Yeah, we have some of them in Oshodi. We have them in Solo General Hospital. So they can come for reviews. They can come to the hospital for reviews, and we'll attend to them.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, to that point, I find that many Nigerians are hesitant to go to the hospital for anything. Even if it's
Yeah.
malaria, you just go take over the counter drug and you take yeah, okay, you do this, you do that. But in a case where you've now noticed that your child has developmental delays in a country like Nigeria, where we pride ourselves on, oh no, my child is X, my child is Y, my child carries first in class. I can how can we encourage, because I've seen situations where I'm like, there's something wrong with that child, and I can't place my finger on it. And I can't,
Yeah.
because I'm not a doctor, I cannot say, oh, it's autism or whatever. It's just a case of I think that parent needs to pay extra attention, to
Mhm.
the child, and they are not. How do we encourage parents to, or how do we destigmatize the fact that they need to go to the hospital? I don't even know how to
Okay,
ask this
now,
question.
first of all, I think what will help is now that we are in the social media era and technological era, more education, more public health education would go a long way
Mhm.
to let parents know that you have a right to your child, you have a right to make sure your child is fine. So you are supposed to do everything you can. And it's your responsibility to look for the adequate help for your child.
Yeah.
So parents should not feel stigmatized to come to the hospital to discuss with doctors. Now we have the spiritual aspect of it, which
Mhm.
I don't doubt. I am not against it. I'm a child of God. But I still feel there is need for professional inputs, for
Right.
professional explanation to some of the things
Mhm.
going on. Because
Mhm.
most of them, when they come to the hospital and we explain to them, oh, they say, oh, they become relaxed that okay, this is what it is. So they know what they to expect, they know what they should do.
Mhm.
So it's more about education.
The
Education.
question to that, the next question I have for you is, have you had cases where maybe a parent brought their child to the hospital
Yeah,
because they had maybe developmental issues as a result of over dependence on screens,
yes,
and after maybe seeing you or whatever, they did what they were supposed to do with the child
yeah.
was fine? Do you have
Oh
cases
yes,
like that?
I have so many cases. And I had a particular one whose child had speech delay. She was about 2 years old and she could not even talk. When you interact with her, she was not even saying anything.
But should a
So
2 year old be able to talk?
yeah, no, there's amount of speech they should say for that age, according to
Right.
the
Okay.
developmental milestones. So they
Okay.
should be able to start with two-syllable words, daddy, mommy, all those funny, all those simple,
Okay.
simple. Now, the problem was that the child could hear, but not express. The child could not express herself. So I just when I first of all I went to the house. They called me to the house. So when I went there, I just noticed the child. She was so glued to TV. She was just
Um,
glued to Coco Melon. Coco Melon. So that Coco Melon has done a lot of
in
harm
fact,
and good. So
in fact,
so uh, the first thing I recommended was, please
turn it
just switch
off.
off the TV, turn it off, give her some time, reduce the amount she spends almost, because the parents are working class, they want to engage the child, they don't want the child to be running up and down, so they just use Coco Melon to engage. But I told them, I just counseled them, you have to stop this, you have to reduce it. So now the child is 5 years old now. The child is speaking at least clearly compared to before. And this every time I see them, I see the child has improved. And thank God this one was just speech. There were no other, more severe symptoms.
Mm,
Mm.
wow. There's this thing that I see in my church every Sunday. So there's some parents that will tell you, "Oh, my child doesn't use tab, doesn't use devices." But then after service on Sunday, you have parents give, the ones that their parents give them their devices to use, and then you just see
Yes.
all the children that their parents
They
claim
just gather there.
they just gather. And I'm
Yeah.
always like, oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? Because it's always so funny. Do you think that there should be a healthy balance? Because
Yeah.
what you're not saying is that you should just remove screen from them.
Yeah.
What
Now
you said the recommended is 1 to 2 hours per day.
yeah, but
And then
yes.
there's also the green. So is it a
Uh,
healthy balance we need, or more of green and very less of screen time?
yeah, now the truth is that let's not lie to ourselves. Let
Mhm.
us not lie to ourselves. Okay. Um, it is not possible to just eliminate screen time for
Yeah.
children, especially now at this time. So the
Some
best
parents have
way,
some parents claim to do it, Chow.
it's not possible. You can't totally do it because if you don't do it at home, someone they will go outside. They will what? So
Right.
the best thing is a healthy balance. A healthy balance. So the balance should be more towards the green time than the screen
Right.
time. Yes, it's
Mm.
just to strike a healthy balance for towards it. That's just the truth.
Wow. 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 I mean, today was very, very, I feel like this was more for me than for anybody else. But thank you so much, Dr. Auntie, for coming on the program
Thank you, ma'am.
today. Um, for parents out there who have been listening, please, healthy balance. Yes, we know that Nigeria is turning on its own, and sometimes you don't. I think the issue also is that parents don't know what to do with their children. So
Yeah.
if you're telling a parent, you have maybe examples. If you're telling a parent, oh, interact more with your children, are there things that they can do with that? Because I think that's what the issue is. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, now that's a very good question. And there are so many things that parents can do aside from going out. For instance, for parents who don't have the privilege to go out, they can engage their child, they can bond with the child. There are so many games that you can play with your child. And so, particularly during weekends, you can play games with them. You can teach them how to clean the house. You can teach them how to wash plates, all the small, what they normally use. You can teach them how to wash plates. Just talk to them. You can just sit down and just chat with them, ask them questions about themselves. If they can engage with you, ask them questions about themselves. You can get toys for them, good toys that they can use at home. Those are things that would go a long way too in preventing, the that screen time,
Dependence on screen time.
the
Thank you
screen
so
time
much.
dependence. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Auntie, for coming on the program today.
Thank
I
you.
mean, we truly, truly, truly appreciate you coming on the program this morning.
Thank
With
you
that
so
being
much.
said, enjoy the rest of the day. Once again, happy Children's Day and happy
Happy
holidays to
Children's Day,
you.
everyone. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes, yes. This is still Women Radio 91.7 FM, and you just finished listening to Dr. Auntie on Radio Doctor this morning. Radio Doctor is broadcast 10 to 11 every Monday through to Friday. Up next, what do we have by 11? Okay, political arena is by 11:30 this morning. Enjoy the rest of the day. Again, we have our Children's Day celebration here
Yeah.
on Women Radio Ground. So you want to come join us and have fun. It's free, particularly free for the children. Okay, bye for